Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie and I'm back with another Marvel Contest of Champions video. And today we are going to be going over the Dev Diary Part 1, which is the roadmap. And so this is basically a brief overview of the new information. Now I'm not going to go ahead and read the whole thing because it is long, but I am going to go over it and, you know, kind of see what I think people will still not be happy about, because there is a lot of information in here, but honestly not a lot of timelines or specific details. Now I know Kabam doesn't really like to give out timelines because they know the community would get their panties all up in a bunch if stuff was delayed, but I wish they would at least give some target dates, which they do give some, but not a whole lot. So I'm just gonna go over the good, the bad, and well, the vague. So I'll put the link in the description below. So let's get this started, shall we? So hey everyone, Quest Design lead Cam Agagi here. We've gathered up a few members of the team to rap about what we're working with on right now, and we're looking towards the future of quests in the contest. So this statement actually really makes me laugh. It reminds me of this Steve Buscemi meme. So basically what Kabam Gagi is saying here is that the game has been around for 5 years and it's evolved a lot, and it's evolved a lot more than what they had expected it to. So they're going to take a different approach on how they tackle new and existing content, buffing the champs and making more content, you know, interactive. So this is a good thing. So then we get into back issues number 5, which is of course the variant, and this one is Blood and Venom. So they're going back to champion requirements, but keeping them act wide, and to be honest, I'm not a fan of this because it reminds me a lot of variant 1, which in my opinion was the worst of the variants. Now the other variants were super successful in that while there were requirements, there were ways around them, like in variant 2 where you had to use you know, large and extra large champs, but you could get around it with like the Flaming Trinity with Cap Infinity Wars. So hopefully the latter is the case with this variant, but with how this is phrased, I'm not holding my breath, excuse me. So this is going to be released in August, and then they're going to have variant 6 hopefully released by the end of the year. So we could be getting 2 variants this year, which would be excellent. Now there is no mention of rewards. If they are going to make them more difficult though, I would like to see, you know, rank 4 to 5 gems for 5 stars or rank 1 to 2 gems for 6 stars instead of the rank 3 to 4. So I feel like the rewards should scale with difficulty, but only time will tell. All right, so then they dive into Act 6. So the first thing they talk about is the champion fight. So they're going to reduce the damage taken from Nullify from 10 to 2%. The block penetration for the champion will be reduced by 50%. The dexterity requirements in the final phase will be removed from, or will be reduced from 5 to 3. And the no retreat node will be gone. So these are all good things here. Now, there isn't any compensation mentioned for players that, you know, dropped a lot of cash on this fight already. So that's kind of, hopefully they'll do something with that. And they're not saying what they will replace no retreat with, if they're going to replace it at all. So hopefully they don't replace it, they just remove no retreat, and that will be the end of it. All right, and then they go and they talk about attack values. So in 6.4, they're going to be reduced from 40 to 60%, dropping them from about 15k closer to around 5 to 9k on average, with some even lower. And then also path fights in 6.3, 6.2, and 6.1 will be scaled down from that top value accordingly. And then attack values for final bosses in Act 6, Chapter 4, excluding the Grandmaster, will be scaled down by 60 to 75%, dropping them from 22k on average to 6.5 to 10k on average. Final bosses in 6.3, 6.2, and 6.1, that probably should say, will be scaled down from the top value accordingly. So this is also good. This is all good things here. So they are going to be looking to revamp them, which is always good. They knew these attack values were getting out of control, which is why I think the Grandmaster had such a reasonable attack value, right? He had a ton of health, but his attack value was basically like fighting Winter Soldier in Realm. So I really like that they're doing this. All right, and then they go on to pain point boss fights and path fights. So you're gonna be getting some details on bosses that you have hated and looking to revamp. There is, however, no timeline on this, which kind of sucks, but you can get involved by going to the forums and letting Kabam know what you didn't like about the bosses, or, you know, the champs along the past. So, you know, bosses like Mr. Sinister, Mcoc, which is they're really the mainly BS bosses. I'm sure there are definitely some other ones out there. Those ones really need to be looked at. Maybe even the Thunderstruck King Groot, or the Acid Wash Mysterio is another good one. Now they mention compensation, but I think this will be sometime in the near future, and really probably not something players should be expecting. I assume, you know, that they will nerf the content and then look at the data to use, you know, both pre and post nerf data to determine what compensation would be necessary to give out to players. All right, and that was pretty much it for Act 6. They don't really say, you know, like I said, when it's coming, and then of course the compensation, what that is going to be. And then they talk about Book 2, Chapter 1, which is, of course, Act 7. So what they want to do is they want to reward player accomplishments, excuse me. So I am curious what these path-based rewards are going to be. I mean, we already get T2 Alpha, so I'm guessing maybe shards. Once again, they're pretty vague on the rewards here. Now, I do like that they are going to make fights more skill-based and tuned to optimal play, excuse me. But once again, we don't really know what that means. I have a whole video actually on how I think they could achieve that. So I'll definitely link that below for you guys to take a look at if you haven't already done so. Now, they mentioned that we will get more use from champs we have ranked up and are no longer useless. Once again, this is vague. I'm hoping they mean more places to use your 3 and 4 stars outside of Arena, but I doubt it. I'm sure they're pretty much still locked in, with only the 5 and 6 stars going to be available in Act 7 or Book 2, Chapter 1, as they were in Act 6. So then they want to respect player investments. So no more buying energy to complete a path, excuse me. You start at full, so this is good. It will not exceed 70 energy, so this is a really good thing. And it looks like they're going to knock off with the whole, you know, 1 or 2 perfect path champ counters BS that they had going on in Act 6 and prior to, and in Act 7 in the beta for it. So this is definitely a good thing. And then they are going to empower players with choices. Now, I'm curious as to how this multiple bosses thing is going to work. Will one boss be easier than another? How many bosses will there whole be? Also, this whole swapping out champs thing is kind of a cool feature, but I kind of feel like it's unnecessary in a story quest. Like, unless you need a specific counter to clear a path and then one to deal with a boss, it's kind of moot, right? So if they're moving away from, you know, champion specific requirements, why introduce this? It's almost counterintuitive to me. Also, what node would you have to face in order to swap a champ out, right? Because this is taken from incursions, and if you want to swap a champ out, you have to take that champ linked, or that node linked. So it's kind of like, what are we going to get in return for that, is how I look at it. All right, and then we have reduce player mental load. Now they mention making paths that are easy and ones that are harder. Now, of course, this is always subjective, and I'm not sure that this was actually much of an issue, but for those players who just want to do an initial clear, they can more easily decide which is the easy path to take, I guess is where this is coming from. Okay, and then we have challenge players with bosses. Now, from the sounds of it, the final bosses will be more geared toward how the Grandmaster fight was in 6.4, skill-based with a variety of counters. I think this is a step in the right direction. However, I'm still interested to see how this multiple final bosses quest thing is going to work. Do I have to fight each one, or can I choose the easiest one to fight over and over again? How is this going to work? All right, and so when is this coming? Well, with hope, December of 2020, with a new chapter every 6 months is when we could potentially see Book 2, Chapter 1. So this is a good thing. All right, and now the big thing that everyone is geared to talk about, the Cavalier Difficulty. So from the looks of it, the paths are going to have a variety of difficulties so that anyone who is Cavalier can at least do an initial completion, which is always a good thing, right? Right. All right, so now let's take a look at rewards. So The completion rewards will help you develop the breadth of your roster, helping you rank up your 5-star champions up to rank 5. Now, these rewards are vague, but like it says here, it seems to be geared towards 565ing your 5-star champions. While this is all good and all, I feel the Cavalier difficulty should be geared more towards your 6-star champions, right? Because that's what becoming Cavalier is all about, ranking up those 6-star champs, progressing on further. Okay, so when can we expect a released date for this? Well, the first Cavalier difficulty will be available on September 2nd, but in order to, I guess, prepare us for it, Kabam is going to be offering a Canadian and legendary side event quest difficulties with the possibility of having a legendary difficulty alongside the Cavalier event quest, which I feel they kind of should do anyways. I mean, if we're getting another difficulty for the monthly event quest, we should, in theory, then get another difficulty when it comes to the side event quest. But that's just my opinion. That's how I see it. Okay, so now let's go ahead and take a look at this thing called Rewards Boost, right? So they're going to be improving the event quest rewards and helping newer players out. So while this is good in theory, I want to talk about the compensation for it because I feel like it's a bit of a touchy subject. So they're only compensating players that have cleared the content at a maximum of 3 months prior to the update. Now, for the earlier acts, that's fine. I don't really care because, you know, whatever. But if this is the case for, you know, when Act 5 is revamped and you're holding T5B from players, I think that could upset a large portion of the community. All right, so now let's take a look at new jams. I mean, this is cool and all. I play with the music and sound off unless I'm streaming, and then I just play with the sound on, but no music. But let's hope it's just not all Howard the Duck music. And if you guys have seen Howard the Duck, the movie, you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, now this one here is pretty cool. A boss rush. So the Summoner Smackdown will allow you to freely unlock a new boss rush each week for 5 weeks. Now, I love boss rushes, so I'm excited for this. The fact that they're making it for all difficulties is a nice change of pace for the boss rushes for those who cannot complete, you know, the standard boss rushes. Although, if it is a boss rush with multiple difficulties, I don't know if I would necessarily call it a boss rush, maybe just another side event quest. That's just my opinion on it. I feel like a boss rush is meant to be a boss rush. It's meant to be challenging. All right, so this is one other thing they have in here, which I think is kind of interesting, and I want to spend a little bit more time on this than some of the other stuff. So this is the Summer of Pain. So as if the Summoner didn't have enough, we're designing a brand new challenge for the top 0.1% of MCOC players. Something for those sickos that have blasted through all of Act 6, that beat the abyss in a Mexican hotel room. I see what you did there. And treat variants like a vacation. In response to these feats and to finally break you, we're working on something that will make you question life itself. The strongest, most fearsome, and finger-breakingly difficult fights from across the contest will return, but with unique roster requirements, smaller teams, and new ways to play them. We're throwing down a gauntlet to you, the best of the best, to take on this challenge. In reward, you'll be blessed with a myriad of top-tier rewards. Now, this phrase right here gets me. Unique roster requirements and smaller teams. Now, Kabam says they're not going to restrict content, but then here it is. So basically you take all the feedback that we give you about Act 6 and 7, tweak it so it won't be like that, and then release this, which may or may not be permanent content. So I feel like it's like they take 3 steps forward and 5 steps backward. Now, I understand that this is for the 0.1% of the player base, but still, I don't know how I necessarily feel about this yet. It'll be interesting to see. Maybe it'll be like the maze. I enjoyed the maze, so only time will tell. So, but that is it, guys. Again, there are really no timelines for a lot of this. It still seems kind of vague. There's no rewards listed and really no compensation listed. But I do feel like it's kind of a step in the right direction with Kabam being more and more transparent with us on what they are bringing to the contest. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think of the newly formed Cavalier difficulty? Do you guys think it will be interesting? What do you guys think of the book 2, chapter 1, The Summer of of Pain, and the Boss Rush? Let me know in the comments below and let's discuss. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw and you want to see more, please remember to like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and hit me up in the Discord chat. Thanks, guys. Bye!